Today I'm going to tell you all about my journey to achieve the Contra Master Belt. It happened about 2 months ago in the biggest event I've ever hosted. Came hundreds of people from all over the country to witness the show my students have been efforting for 9 months to put on. From time to time I'm going to look at the computer down here because I have a lot of notes. We have a lot to cover. The show was created by my sister. She also ran the rehearsal. So she, together with the team, they put a lot of time into it. And I had the privilege to give her the blue belt in the same event where I got my Contra Master belt. The blue belt is equal to the black belt in other martial arts. The Contra Master belt is one belt before the master belt. In Capoeira and the master belt, in my group, we have four, we have three master belts, and then the last one is called Grandmaster. I started, my first activity was when I was 6 years old, and I started with basketball. From 6 to 10, I've been training basketballs, but I've always been in love with martial arts. I used to watch a lot of Jackie Chan's movies, and I was always fascinated with that. When I was about 10 years old, my brother went to a capoeira class. He's 6 years older than me, and capoeira was very fashionable in Israel at the time. It was blowing up. Everyone was doing capoeira, training capoeira and learning. And so I went with him. When he went to the second class, I came with him for my first class. And it was some kind of a summer course where they wanted to see if there's enough people, enough kids interested in learning capoeira. For the first 3 years, I used to go twice a week, and I remember even forgetting to go, staying at a friend's house and playing instead of going to the class. I remember when I was about 13, my teacher advised me to go train with other students she taught in a different city. That was a huge turning point for me because maybe it was the first time I can recall that I was training with friends instead of with a teacher, and that had a totally different vibe. It was much more relaxed and we laughed a lot more, and I could choose what I want to train. So obviously we repeated that kind of training, that kind of gathering many times, and our friendship grew as we met, to the point I remember making a conscious decision that I want to spend more time with my capoeira friends than with my school friends. I used to finish school, instead of going home, I went to my friends and I used to sleep over on the weekends, and we used to do a lot of capoeira trainings and watching videos and playing the instrument, and we were really immersed in it. Other than that, we really like to do barbecues and go to the beach. At that time, I was really focused on acrobatics. And other than my capoeira social group, I developed another group which was tricking. At that time, tricking in Israel was making its first steps. Interacting with them and meeting them made me have a lot of passion towards acrobatics. I used to go to the gymnast halls to train about 2 times a week in Tel Aviv. I used to travel by myself for about an hour using public transportation. And also I started training by myself, mostly in the grass somewhere near my house. I used to have an old camera where I shoot myself training any kind of move, then rewatching what I did, thinking of how I can better what I did, and trying again. At that time, I really learned how to teach myself, how to train myself. And this also gave me a lot of knowledge in regarding to teaching acrobatics these days. At the age of 15, I was nailing new acrobatics movements in every training. It was really exciting. I felt this feeling of accomplishment as I'm finally ready with physically, and I can just aim at whatever movement I want and I can get it in just a short time. Then at the age of 16, I did the capoeira instructor course with Master Idan. There you stay a whole month in a sports facility where you train and learn how to teach capoeira. That was a beautiful experience, staying together with 30 other capoeiristas that loved capoeira as much as I did. This really grew our love to capoeira, and we created a really strong bond. After I've completed my instructor course, my teacher, Master Tamar, advised me to go and train with Master Idan. She told me that she already taught me most of what she knows, and if I really want to grow in capoeira, I need to effort and step out of my comfort zone. And so I did. I used to go there 4 times a week. Sometimes I even came earlier to help him with his kids' classes. Then I spend the day with him until the evening classes. I felt that just being near him taught me a lot. He was a really huge role model for me. At that time, I started teaching my own group in a near village where I taught for about 3 years, and I got to 40 participants. In Israel, when you're 18, you're recruited to the army by the law. I was scared of servicing in the army, and I slowly grew a huge anxiety. When I went to meet a psychologist, he recommended that I shouldn't be recruited. And so I went to the national service where I served 2 years working with disabled kids in their school. And I even got to teach capoeira over there. I remember a really touching moment where I saw one of the kids teaching another one a kick I just taught them in the class who was teaching him in the recess. And that really filled my heart with warm feelings. When I was done with the national service, I was offered to teach capoeira in another city by an instructor that went to work for Facebook, and he wanted to stop teaching capoeira. There I've been teaching for the last 10 years. And first I was teaching there 5 days a week, and I got up to 180 participants, and 7 students of mine went through the same instructor course that I went in 2008. At the age of 20, I got my first high degree level, which is the blue belt. And now I'm remembering that I forgot to tell you about my first trip to Brazil when I was 18. But I think I'm going to leave it to another video because this is a whole subject for itself. At the age of 25, I got my next belt, the Professor belt, together with 2 of my friends. We've put on a huge show with over 50 of our students taking part of this show and over 600 people in the audience. Other than capoeira, I was really interested in movement, and so I went and did 6 months of online training with Ido Portal's method, where you train 3 to 4 hours every day. That experience taught me that I can train a lot more than what I've imagined. A bit after that, I was introduced by one of my capoeira friends to a contact jam improvisation. A bit after that, I was introduced by one of my capoeira friends called Medusa. In movement, she taught me a lot about how to use the mind, the imagination, the senses in order to create movement and improvisation. When it comes to teaching, she taught me a lot about how to look at what is going on in the room and at the people, paying attention to how the students are reacting to what I'm teaching them at the moment, and finding whatever is most suitable for the class today, just like a good stand-up show.
I've dedicated most of my life to capoeira. Tell me in the comments below, what is the thing that you dedicate most of your time to? Right before the corona crisis, my teacher asked me to continue teaching on her group, since I was her most experienced student. It was pretty hard getting into her shoes. For these groups as well, with 5 teachers working together with me. And this amazing show you just watched was made out of 6 different acts by my students that have been training with me for about 10 years, and they too are about to recruit to the army. The idea behind this show was to showcase the public and the next generations of my students all of Capoeira's different aspects that they will be learning too when they'll grow up. We wanted to inspire them. If this video inspired you even just a little bit, I recommend you watch this video where I simplified and organized a very clear method to master Capoeira Angola. If you watch it, you'll have a big head start over anyone who's been learning Capoeira.